Hey folks, Matthew Lanigan here with Baywa RE. I see people still signing in, so we'll just give it a minute or two and then we'll kick things off. Thanks so much. Hi folks, Matthew Lanigan here again with Baywa RE. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer here at Baywa. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started here. This presentation will be recorded and will be available during the October newsletter. If you'd like a copy earlier than that, please just shoot us an email and we can help you out with that. You'll notice there is a questions box in the bottom right corner. So please put all your questions down there. We'll do our best to answer them as we go. There'll be breaks along the presentation, and then anything we haven't gotten to, we'll get to at the end. Continuing education is part of the DNA here at Baywa, so we really appreciate our customers taking some time and continuing to learn along with us with the products that we offer. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joe Perez with Roof Tech, who's the sales manager for Roof Tech.
Hi, thanks, Matt. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you all today. I just getting the technical side of clicking buttons here. Very happy to be with you all today. As you know, there is so much going on in solar. And despite all of the challenges, you know, through 2020, and I know it's only increased here in 2021, Canada has managed to put up about 35 megawatts of residential solar, which is incredible. 70 watts total, I guess, was reported to the 70 megawatts are, sorry about that. So with that said, 35 megawatts of residential solar put up by the Canadian solar market. That's pretty phenomenal. So despite those challenges, you know, we commend you, Team Roof Tech. We know how hard it is to do business this day and age, you know, with logistics and supply chain difficulties. It's been challenging. So we do applaud you and we do thank you, and especially, like Matt said, taking time out for a little bit of continuing education. You know, just like it's in the DNA at Baywa, Yana Geekin, our parent company, and here in North America, Roof Tech, we pride ourselves on continuing our efforts to bring the most efficient and easy to use products that are built to last the test of time. And that can only happen through copious testing. Roof Tech is a Japanese roofing manufacturer based in Aichi, Japan. We've been around since the 50s. We got into solar in the 90s. And what makes our products in the solar sphere a little bit different than everyone else? I'm sure there's a lot of people who are already using roof tech, and I know today's talking about sales and having a competitive edge by adding roof technologies to your offerings. But I really want to touch upon some of the things you already know. Everyone knows about RT Butyl, right? Anyone who's used roof tech products knows that it is a stubbornly sticky and aggressively water hydrophobic material. We haven't changed it at all. It's the same butyl that we've been producing since the 50s. All we did was put a new name on it, and that's where the AlphaSeal comes in. AlphaSeal Technology is literally how we are just explaining our screws, our butyl, and our bases. And the chorus of those create what we call the AlphaSeal Technology, which, if you've been paying attention to solar at all lately, you'll know we have completely disrupted the status quo of solar, residential solar racking. The top-down design of our bases have completely changed how all other racking manufacturers are looking at their technology. Now, butyl is the name of our game. It's what makes us different, right? We test this regularly and have since the 50s. Our primary roofing sealant was converted to our primary PV mounting sealant. And it has been unchanged since the 90s when we started in solar. As you can see, our in-house testing there on the left-hand side of the screen shows that we have 5 inches of water for 30 days. This test has actually been increased to include 90 days of water submersion, so that we're sure that regardless of where you put these bases, so long as you're following our installation methods, you're going to have a waterproof connection to that roof for the life of the system. And I really want to make a big distinction here. We hear people talk about watertight and waterproof on a regular basis. I wanted to share with you, because this is information that your sales teams can bring out sitting across the coffee table or on a Zoom call for that matter these days. But you can, the difference between waterproof and watertight, it makes a big distinction. Watertight is a process of, it's an installation term, right? You can torque anything tight enough together so that it does not allow water molecules to pass through. However, waterproof is the term that we apply to our products, because just by the virtue of our products and the materials that we use, it's not a matter of torquing the equipment together tight enough that water can't pass. It's just that the equipment, the materials will not let the water pass. And that's the big distinction. And that's what we want to bring to our customers, because we know that knowledge is king. Just like we test to gain more knowledge, constantly testing, we are always looking to be better, all right? As I'm sure you and your teams both out, making proposals, as well as, being on the roof, we all want to do the best job we can. And these fish are very happy that we chose our base to, secure into their fishbowl. We do not use the fish in the fishbowl anymore. We realize that, fish don't like to swim around on roofing surfaces. So we have definitely discontinued. This is a very old photograph, but to honor these fish, I try to use this photograph as often as I can, because it does, it does make it so that they didn't spend time around those chemicals in vain. So our besides, all of the technical stuff, butyl being our primary sealant, we're not just waterproof. We are an ICC certified flexible flashing, one of the only, if not the only, in North America at this point. So we pride ourselves not on just having great technology that's been around for a while. We are constantly testing ourselves and putting ourselves on the chopping block, essentially, with third-party certifications and testers to make sure that our equipment is performing at the quality and the level that we are always, talking to and presenting to our customers. When you are sitting, now I'm going to start talking into what we're really here to talk about, which is your competitive edge, and how by utilizing roof tech and our AlphaSeal technology and our products that feature this, how it will give you a competitive edge against the other proposals that are sitting on that coffee table. So when we talk about people's reluctance to perhaps trust the roof tech equipment, besides being ICC certified, besides being certified by the International Roofing Council, other roofing manufacturers in the roofing space have actually provided white paper to say that they prefer our attachment method and that we do not reduce or negate their warranties on those roofs. As we know, with a composite asphalt shingle, if you lift that seal, lifting that seal could be damaging to that homeowner's roof warranty. And that's the last thing we want to do, is provide less value when we are presenting ourselves and providing services to our customers. So we do spend quite a bit of time making sure that we are always ahead of the game and that we have as many I's dotted and T's crossed as we can. We believe in strength in numbers. Another part of our AlphaSeal technology is our wood screws. Our screws are significantly smaller than the conventional lag bolts that have been used in solar. This presents a few advantages. We have the advantage of a smaller shaft entering the wood truss. As you can see, these squares here on the screen represent a wood truss. The 2x4 rafter, 2x6 rafter. You're still only really about getting an inch and a half of width. And per the National Design Specification, the NDS says that a fastener has to be within a diameter and a half from the edge of the truss or the structure that you are tying into. So as you can see, with a smaller screw, you have a much higher percentage of the truss to hit to make sure that you're getting the attachment that you're looking for. So there's clear advantages, especially when it comes to misses on that rafter. As we all know, we've been up on the roof, we've drilled those pilot holes, we know we've missed rafters before. So now we have an opportunity, a true value proposition, just by the screws we use, of telling that homeowner, hey, we have a higher percentage chance of tying into the rafter, and we have a 100% chance of doing so without leaving errant holes in that roof. That is a huge value proposition, because when we talk to specialty insurance companies like ProSite, right, who does a lot of solar contractor insurance policies, we find out that water intrusion and job site accidents are the #1 and #2 claims to organizations and insurance companies like ProSite. So when we're doing a better job of attaching and providing fewer liabilities, and opportunities for the project to go wrong, we increase the value proposition we bring to our customers. So besides being waterproof, I've said we're strong. We're so strong, in fact, that we have achieved the Florida High Velocity Hurricane Zone seal of approval. That means our bases can be attached in some of the strongest, hurricane zone wind areas in the continental US. If it will work in Florida, down in Miami, where the winds will blow in excess of 180 miles an hour, I think we're going to be covered, in Nova Scotia. I'm very happy. Now, we did have the hurricane just 2 years ago, and it was pretty intense, but I don't think we hit 180 mile an hour wind, and I definitely checked with our contractors there, and everyone reported, no leaks, no issues with their solar systems, and that makes a guy like me very happy. So I'd like to take just a second if anyone has any questions. I know Matt said that he was going to be stopping from time to time. We'll probably be moving on to, what is, what's next in the presentation and talking about some sales stuff. So if anyone has any questions on some of the more technical or white paper side of things, now's an opportunity.
Hey, Joe, just one in the queue here asking about the RT Apex. Are there engineering letters available for BC for maximum spans?
Yes. So actually on our website, if you go to the PE letters under the support page, you'll be able to find your stamped PE letters for BC. You'll notice on the letters that you have all of the typical substrates that we test for, which would be 1x6 plank, 7/16 OSB, half-inch ply, and rafter attachment, and then the hybrid of all those. And so you will notice besides that, you'll see that we offer with the snow clip and without the snow clip. We can go over all of the PE tables and how to put together an array and to design a project. Feel free to email me on that. But the snow clip is actually something that we have put together and brought to market that will increase our ability to increase our spans in high snow load areas. So that's what that is. The snow clip, I believe we are going to be sending up to BayWa, who is our exclusive RT Apex distributor in Canada this year. So we will have plenty of those for you guys, and we just looking forward to getting that feedback. So when you look at those PE letters, just know that that's what that part is, or what that's indicating anyway. So with that said, I can't wait to come out to BC and get on a roof with whoever that question was from. Definitely looking forward to spending some time with you guys. The last 2 years, despite having all of the typical COVID setbacks, we obviously weren't traveling around, but I happen to live in probably the mecca of Realist attachment in North America. New Jersey, because they have rough inspections on rail, the Realist market is huge. And so, living right next to New Jersey, I had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with contractors who were installing the RT Apex for the first time. So I got out there training and probably was involved with about 55 installations, had an excellent time. The teams who I worked with, they all loved it. And the RT Apex is the #1 adopted new Realist product in the last 2 years. Of the top 30 installers in New Jersey, more than half are using RT products. And of the Realist installers, probably 80% of the installs are happening with the RT Apex. So we've been very lucky or very fortunate to have the exposure and the reception from the market that we received. The Apex has been a phenomenal product. And like I said, once the travel restrictions have eased up, I very much am looking forward to spending some time with you all and getting on roof. So with that said, it's about getting on the roof, right? So the first thing that has to happen is we have to sell these projects. Aurora Solar earlier this year put out a research that they did where they canvassed homeowners as well as installers. And we were talking about, they were trying to figure out what were, the top 5 ways to get your proposal noticed. I think that was the name of the piece, right? And what stuck out to me the most was that taking time, right, and having your sales team understand what makes you different than the rest, other than your name, right? Like, what equipment is actually getting used? A lot of people spend time and attention on, the modules and inverters, which are very important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's the center of the solar system. But the racking is really what matters to them, right? Because we are proposing to install a retrofit system onto their roof, right? Onto the protective layer of the most expensive investment most Canadians are going to have in their possession, right? Homes are, the lifeblood of the economics for most people living in North America. So knowing that they are going to have this cost-saving technology, right? Because that's what people are in it for. Of course, they feel good that it saves the planet, but people want to know that, you know, there's cost savings to this. And so making sure that we educate our customers to know that, hey, we use Roof Tech, it's 100% waterproof. Their warranty covers, you know, their equipment and helps us do our job better. And that warranty is covering any kind of water intrusion or any, you know, any kind of mechanical, you know, failure for that system, right? As far as the racking goes. When you talk to the average homeowner, they don't even know what you're talking about when you say these things, right? Because that is the largest, you know, hurdle. When I read all of these reports about why homeowners say yes, why homeowners say no, the number one theme that I read and that I think very rarely gets publicized is the lack of information that the typical homeowner has on all the parts of solar. And so as a sales team, when we educate how we're going to provide the family or the homeowner or the property owner with the proposed solar system, letting them know how we do it and why we've chosen the components we've chosen. You know, that provides them with the power of information. And when people feel like they're informed and they're knowledgeable, that's when they get very excited and they take ownership. And all of a sudden, that one proposal that you put out, that one sale that you made because you empowered those homeowners, now they're going out and they're spreading the word. When their neighbor said, "Oh, you went solar, huh?" And then they say, "Yeah, you know, the contractor, you know, they took the time to talk to me about why, you know, and how." And when people say, "Oh, is your roof gonna leak?" You know, that is when they'll say, "No, they actually use this product that warranties against roof leaks and, you know, provides 25 years of coverage on this." That is the kind of things I know as a homeowner, and I know a lot of people listening to this are thinking to themselves, "Hey, you know what? The number one thing I don't want happen is something bad to happen in my house after I put on solar." So when we start breaking down these challenges, right, with meaningful information, with actual knowledge, and with data, it makes a very compelling argument. So be an educator, right? One of the number one things that people find very difficult to understand when they're proposed with solar is how all the financing works. Take your time to walk them through those financial steps. What are the advantages of going solar? What incentives are available? You know, of the homeowners that were polled that said yes to solar, it was those factors that made the biggest difference. So I definitely propose, you know, getting with your sales team. They are just as important as your install team in making sure that, you know, your businesses continue to operate at the level you want them to. And you know, honestly, there's more than 30 million reasons to choose Roof Tech at this point. Just in North America alone, there's 30 million roof penetrations. And you know, in spite of the instances where people have put Roof Tech mounts in very precarious places and very strange, you know, like ideas of like how roof work should happen. We have had no leaks that were due to a fault in the product, failure of the materials or anything like that. That's a very strong proposition. The fact that, you know, over 27 years, we have hundreds of millions of roof penetrations without leaks. These are the kinds of figures that homeowners want to see. And so when we talk about there being 30 million reasons to choose Roof Tech, we can translate that directly to how we talk to our customers. The skilled and knowledgeable sales team makes a huge difference. And one of the things that people don't realize, they know that, hey, if you call Joe, he'll come out and gut on a roof with you guys and you know, make sure that you're putting the products in correctly. But I also provide personalized sales training for your team. So if anyone's interested in working with me and getting their sales team to, you know, a very knowledgeable level about Roof Tech and its advantages, feel free to reach out. I'd love to spend time with you guys and make sure that we can tailor some client-facing marketing pieces as well as some information for your sales team so they get out there and they close more deals. So part of that is, what are those advantages? We're the only self-flashing PV mount recognized by the International Code Council. Rafter deck attachment, like all of our products, right? So there's no pilot hole and there's no need to break the seal of the asphalt shingles. So that means there's no empty holes. There's no pulling up shingles that are going to reduce or negate the warranty. And so that means that for all intents and purposes, you're installing this on a home in what we call oops proof, right? The second thing people want to know about is, okay, great. So all those things matter, but I want to see how the warranty works. Well, warranties are generally written by lawyers or insurance companies. And so we've broken down our warranty, our 25-year warranty, to some finer points in layman's terms that, is easily translated to your customers. You can find all of this kind of stuff on our website, either in the download section or the about us section. All of our frequently asked questions stuff is in about us. So, we cover failures of our equipment, right? If water gets in and you've attached this thing properly onto the roof, chances are, if you've attached it properly, it's a failure of the product, right? I can't, obviously warranty something that was installed improperly. So make sure you're checking out your PE letters, like our friends in BC were just asking about. Our PE letters are all available online under our support page, as well as our installation manuals. Those are absolutely chock full of information for your install team. And for the keener sales team, if they really wanted to know how it all works, I invite them to look at that as well. So what I'm going to show you here are just a few pieces that we've created, both on the brochure side and also like for our customers that have taken on Roof Tech products proprietarily, right? People that are using Roof Tech as their sole source of racking. We do help out with creating marketing pieces for them. This is one we put together for Boston Solar, a great company out of Massachusetts. They, they've been #1 for a long time over there, and they're using RT Minis. And love working with those guys. I definitely love getting to Boston. It's a lot of fun to spend time, getting to know contractors and seeing, parts of the country. But what's important is sitting down, talking to a sales team, putting pieces like this in their hand and having them say, yeah, okay, I'm adding this. This is a very cool thing. So feel free to reach out. Working with myself and Tracy Huggins, our marketing coordinator, we are able to work with you and tailor some marketing pieces that feature, our brands combined. Brochures, we have, the RT Mini 2. That's the hot, flash kit that works with all your rail systems, as well as the RT Apex, which we've been talking about. The RT Apex is an incredible product. I know I've said that a few times, and really, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but it really, when you talk to people who have been doing Realist for 15, 20 years, they get this product in their hand and it's like immediate. You can see them thinking, okay, how does this apply? I went on a project, a first install, 100 kilowatt residential install down on the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. And it was about 104 degrees. And all 100 kilowatts of that project, fit in the back of a pickup truck. All the racking for that project fit into the back of one pickup truck. I challenge you to tell me any other racking system that's going to fit that compact 100 kilowatts worth of racking. But we got out there. It was 120 degrees on that roof, 125. It was so humid. With the Humidex, it had to be like 900 degrees. And we got up there and we based out, at least 3 of the roof surfaces out of the 9 that were there to install. And the contractors, you know, they had played around with our equipment in their office and on their demo roof, but you know, after about an hour of laying bases, they said to me, they're like, dude, this is amazing. You know, they stopped work and they stood up and just said, this is phenomenal. How long have you guys been doing this? And I'm like, 27 years. He's like, I can't believe I never saw this before. And I love that. That is the best part of being working for a company like Roof Tech, is that we bust the status quo. We get people to change their mind about how they're going to do the work, and when they adopt it, it does make a substantial difference. So you know, it's just a minor anecdote, but the RT Apex has been.
Sorry, Joe, just a couple of quick questions before we go fully into this. Adam's asking, is putting a layer of roofing sealant around the edge acceptable?
Absolutely. That was the edge, the bead of caulk around the edge, you know, was always a measure that was a part of the install manual that, you know, Japan thought was a good way to protect the AlphaSeal from external contaminants like, you know, rodent urine and pine needles and whatever else can seep in there. But they actually, ran a pilot last year with the RT Apex. Actually, we did 10 megawatts of installs with without the caulk, and waited through 2 freeze thaw cycles, so 18 months in total, and we had 0 failures. So with that said, we have removed the caulk from the install manual. However, we do encourage people, if they feel more comfortable, to add that. It is an option. You'll still see that in the install manual, but it is not necessary to maintain your warranty. So Adam, if you feel better with the caulk, by all means, you know, we recommend.
And another follow-up question. A slide previously stated -40 C temp rating. In Alberta, we can see -50, 60. What happens then?
Well, we put on extra layers. That's, and I mean on our jackets. So -50 or 60, you know, obviously that's outside of our range of temps. At negative 40, the you know, the butyl becomes rigid, and so I would definitely recommend you know, getting in touch with me and my team, because I would say, you know, just knowing the facts here, if it's getting colder than 40 degrees, that is what we have as our functional you know, temperature threshold. And so, you know, if there hasn't been issues, you know, I think you're probably good. I mean, we've had people installing this in the Yukon Territory for the last 2 years with a high degree of success. Never had an issue with you know, temperature getting in the way of the install. And that's at the time of install and for the working temps. So besides having the -40 threshold, you do want an ambient temperature of at least 22 degrees on that roof surface when you're installing. This can be done pretty simply. You know, roofs are generally warmer than the air because they have the radiant heat from the house below, as well as the sun. And with the use of a heat gun or you know, something of this nature, you're able to, you know, and keeping the bases in the truck while you map out your equipment or you map out the roof, you're able to keep that 22 degree ambient temperature for the install in place. Now, like I said, if I was going to be technical about it, I would say if you're installing in an area that's getting, you know, colder than 55 degrees or colder than 40 degrees, I definitely reach out and talk to me and my engineering team. And, you know, I don't have a good answer for that because this is the first time I've been posed with a colder than 40 degrees.
That's fine. We'll get Adam in touch with you, Joe. And another one here, is there a flashing option for RT Mini 2 available through BayWa? So we do carry the RT Mini 2, sorry.
Yes. Yep. So all of our equipment is available through BayWa. The RT Mini 2, the Apex, and the RT REB are all supported by BayWa. And if you need anything in terms of support or technical assistance, drop a line as always. Definitely looking forward to hearing from you, Adam. I definitely want to get that addressed. Matt, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, one last question, but it's about the Apex product, and I think some of it will be covered here momentarily.
Great. So some of the RT Apex, I know a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with the RT Apex or Realist in general. The RT Apex and Realist have some specific advantages over railed systems. You know, at this point of the game, it used to be that a Realist system, you know, really couldn't give what the railed systems do. You know, and at this point of the game, we are pretty much at parity between the ability of racking with rail and racking with railless. You know, there's minor differences. You know, it's not just swapping equipment. It's taking the time to think about how we want to install using a different strategy. Just like, you know, on a railed system, for instance, you know, you rarely find people running rails, you know, north and south, or laying their modules on the rail in landscape orientation, because it's a waste of materials, right? The same goes, it's the inverse for the Realist products, right? So Realist is best used with landscape-oriented modules. And this is good for two reasons. One, there's better snow loading, and also, you know, it's less equipment. When we think about it, your modules are turning into your rails. And so running your rails east and west across the roof would be how you'd normally rack a project. This is the same kind of idea. The edges of your module, the module frame now becomes your rails, and your mounts become, you know, just like you would flash in your mounts on your rails. The same applies to your railless racking. So it's kind of a cool thing to work through, because, you know, it gets contractors looking at, okay, how am I really you know, putting these projects up. So besides thinking about the strategy behind it and looking at, you know, changing how you design, it will also give many contractors an opportunity to say, hey, you know what, maybe I could do this a little different and save myself some money or time or whatever the case may be. The RT Apex offers a lot of flexibility. Just like the RT Mini, the bases can attach to the rafter or to the decking. Now, I always am a proponent of the rafter attachment because it's less expensive and it's stronger. And to me, that's a 1-2 punch that I can't ignore. I definitely like the ease of attaching onto the decking, but, you know, screws aren't cheap, and, you know, using more equipment because the spans are less on the decking, you know, that for me it doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, the name of our game is the flexibility to install solar how you want to install solar. And so I wouldn't tell you shouldn't, you know, do this, you know, use the decking over the rafter. It's going to be about your preference and how you want to design. But the, you know, the installation is identical to the RT Mini product. 2 into the rafter, 5 into the deck. The base itself is made out of the same material as the Mini. It's got the anodized black bottom, black surface, and then we're using the RT Mini or the RT screws, you know, which is the AlphaSeal Technology. Single tool design. You've got an 8mm ball end hex driver that is going to be attaching your top your panel torquing, as well as torquing your pillar onto the base. And that single tool, that tool also is going to be controlling your leveling. There's an 1.25 inch leveling. So, to deal with undulations on that roof, the high spots, low spots, you can adjust that in real time as you work or at the end. We have integrated bonding. The bonding pins, bite into the module frame. And when you use the splices, you're able to bond every module to the system. So that means you can remove a module from the center of the array, and it will still be bonded, even with that module missing. The integrated wire management, I thought it was really cool. The little tray, I'm gonna get the laser pointer here. The wire management tray, I didn't realize that was going to be as big a hit as it was. This is designed to fit the majority of the trunk cables on the industry, and those with some S-clips on the module frame. You really do end up with a very, very nice, tight, and neat wire management that stays well off of the roof surface, because we're a minimum of 3 inches off that roof. With the RT Apex clamp platforms. So there's plenty of room to work under there, as well as make sure that those wires aren't hanging down. The integrated wire management, like I said, it's very cool. I did not realize how much our Realist users were going to love this, because it's very different than the rest of the industry. That little tray, who would have thought of all the technology that we poured into this, that little piece of aluminum really has made a big difference. And of course, as always, you have 0 to 45 degree roof pitch, where, we have the pre-stamped engineering, and, it's going to be waterproof anywhere you put it. And the modules, snap right in. Now, I will say, I've had, companies large and small move over to the RT Apex. Our largest customer would be Momentum Solar here in the States. They're what we call a super regional. They are operating from West Coast to East Coast, I think 23 states or something. And they use the RT Apex on all their installs. They have been big fans of it, as well as smaller outfits, guys that are putting up 20 projects in a month, contractors that are putting up 40 projects in a month. One of my customers in Maryland, Standard Energy Solutions. If you get a minute, go on our website, read the testimonial. They say very nice things about me, and that was very nice. I didn't ask them to do so. I just do the job I do, right? But they have been huge on promoting the RT Apex, because in their minds, it's changed their business model. At this point, they have only one person in warehouse now, because there's only 8 SKUs that they're managing, as compared to the 17 they had with the system they were using before. So 8 SKUs to manage all your racking, and it's easy to install. It looks great, and we've had a lot of very satisfied customers, I guess I could say. And so I really I'm grateful for the experience we've had. Because from ordering 8 SKUs, shipping, 100 kW in a bit, like in one pallet, to warehousing that smaller footprint, and then to installing, just dragging this stuff up to the roof, presents a safety factor, right? You are spending less time and energy getting bulky equipment onto the roof. You're loading a few roof bags with this equipment and heading up. So there are a few advantages that we can deliver on, just by simply saying yes to the RT Apex. We also offer an online estimator tool. It is not specific and bespoke to the Canadian market. I'm working on a version that will be utilizing the PE letters from the provinces. We are looking into how we can get this done, and we're hoping to have that at some point soon. In the meantime, you're always welcome to get on the get onto our website, and you can click onto the RT Apex estimator, create a login, and you'll be able to mess around with the system. And like I said, it's based on the values that we have in the states and the letters for the states, but we'll give you an idea of how to design with the RT Apex. And so with that, we have about 15 minutes left for questions, comments, and anything else you would like to hear about.
John's asking, Realist versus railed snow loads and wind calculation changes. How would one change a design from rail to railless?
Can you say that one more time, Matt? I don't think I followed all of it.
Railless versus rail.
Right.
Snow loads and wind calculation changes, question mark. How would one change a design from railed to railless?
Well, you know, the name of the game is knowing the criteria for the project, right? So if I'm in Victoria, BC, I know I'm looking at 1.5 kPa, I think it is out there, with wind load 0.4. I'm going off the top of my head. People are probably laughing at me right now, but I'm like, the fact that that chart is in my head right now is kind of amazing. So if we know our criteria, right, and we know what we're looking at, we can easily adjust a project that was, you know, made for rail, and convert it to the RT Apex. But you can't do it without knowing what the jurisdiction specifications are. Got to know the wind, snow, the pitch of the roof. You know, if you plan on attaching to rafter, which I recommend, that's going to be the most generous spans. You know, it's definitely it can be done, and I think it could be done pretty easily to answer that question. It would be, however, it would be a design. So if those were rails, chances are those modules would be in portrait orientation. So there would be a little bit more than just what I proposed just there, because you'd want to be looking at how to not just change the racking, but how to best utilize the equipment and how it's meant to be used. So, like,
and John, if you have follow-up questions, Joe's email is on the screen here, so he'd be more than happy to touch base with you one-on-one.
I do apologize, guys. I get nerdy about stuff like this, and I dig in. Not everyone needs to hear how my brain works. So thanks, Matt. Thanks for letting John know he can reach out individually.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions, Joe, so I think we're good for now. So just a couple of notes before we go. These products are currently in stock in Baywa, 4 different locations across the country. I would highly recommend, if you don't have a web shop account, to set one up. You can go in there, you can get all the documentation around the product, you can see inventory levels as well as your costs. If you do have any follow-up questions, please just reach out to your inside or outside sales reps. They'll be happy to help. This was recorded, so if you'd like a copy, let us know. Otherwise, it'll come out in the October newsletter. And yeah, thanks once again, Joe. RoofTech's been a fantastic partner for us here over the years with great North American support, and really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today.
Hey, you guys are the best, and I very much encourage you all to you know, take me up on the offer. I'd love to get out on some roofs and do some demo projects with the RT Apex. Nothing would make me happier. So look forward to hearing from you all, and look forward to getting back up north of the border. And I'm not just partial to the Maritimes. I love coming out west too. So I encourage those invitations. And especially thanks to the Baywa team. You guys have been an awesome partner for us, and we look forward to many more years to come.
Okay, take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.